So good evening, everybody. Welcome to the webinar. I do apologize for what happened at 7 o'clock. We had audio issues and we were unable to, I understand you were unable to hear me, although I could hear myself and I could see myself, which is usually the test that it's working clearly. But for some reason, the sound wasn't actually getting out to you out there in the big wide world web. So what we're going to do this evening is we're going to, on the back of the video that I did last week, the workshop, the Tekton workshop that I did last week, where I went through various different things, including does Tekton make money? What is the best time to backtest? Where's the best time period to backtest? And also, what is the situation, or what is the process if you do a backtest and you find that for certain periods of the backtest you get a negative result. So overall it's a positive result, it's a nice positive result, but then during a certain period of that you get a negative period. So we covered that off in regards to what you should do in those processes, and if you find that you have a back test that gives you a really positive result, what is the best course of action to run it live if you move forward with regards to the actual live trading, or should you retest it, re-edit it? I showed you various things to do with commodity channels and EMAs, and once we'd sent that out, we found that a lot of people had questions, so we thought the best way to tackle that is to do a live Q&A, which is what we're doing this evening here in London. So what we're doing this evening is we're going to give you the opportunity to answer any questions. I just want to make sure the chat is all ready to go. So we're going to give you the ability to ask questions on anything to do with Tekton. We do have some email questions that have been made already. So we have some email questions that have been sent in, which I'm going to read out to you in a moment. But it will give you the ability to ask any questions to do with trading, to do with Tekton, to do with the markets. Now, I want to try and avoid questions to do with specific indicators. However, I've got one or two on the emails. I want to keep it Tekton related. I want to keep it trading related, and I'd like to keep it, for a session for you to ask any questions that you may have. We can also pop into some sharing mode. I can go into the charts, I can go into Tekton itself and help you there. So let me read some of the emails out that we've got on here. What I'd like you to do with regards to the questions that you have is just pop a little message through on the chat window. And the chat window is open. It gives you the ability to send a message through, and I will get it here and I can then read that question out. Your name won't be visible, so don't worry about being anonymous if that's what you prefer. I won't read your name out. I'll just read the question out and I'll answer it wherever possible. So the first question I've been sent on email, this came in on Saturday, was from Tommy in Cape Town, South Africa. And he said that on your recent webinar, you mentioned commodity-based currencies. Can you explain again what that means, please? Well, a commodity-based currency is a currency that is heavily linked to commodities. And there are several currencies around the world that are heavily linked to commodities. The main one that springs to mind is the Australian dollar, because the Australian dollar is linked to commodities because of the fact that Australia is a huge manufacturer of iron ore, which is a huge commodity in value and in volume. And the amount that they export has so much volume that it has a very big bearing on the value of the Australian dollar. So that is why Australian dollar is a commodity-based currency. The other major one, apart from the sort of the smaller ones where you've got the Peruvian and there's a couple of other exotic currencies that are commodity-based currencies, is the Canadian dollar, because the Canadian dollar is very heavily linked to the production of oil. So Canadian dollar is Canada is a massive producer of oil, and the Canadian dollar is linked to oil because they produce and export a hell of a lot of it. So you find that the Canadian dollar value tracks the value of oil. So as the Canadian dollar falls and goes up, the value of crude oil goes with it. So it's very, very heavily linked to that. And that's why I said in the workshop that I did is that the commodity channel index, which is an indicator within your charting platform and obviously Tekton, will give you the ability to trade and does give better results when trading using those commodity based currencies. So hopefully, Tommy, that answers your question. That's the first one we've got here. The second question here is from Mohammed in Port Harcourt in Nigeria. So I believe, Mohammed, you're one of maybe CCI traders. We have a client in Nigeria now, in Africa, and they are users of Tekton. And Mohammed has sent an email in. Hello, sir. I think Tekton is the best trading tool I have ever seen. Can you tell me what the best indicator to use and where I can learn more about each one? So that's a really good question. The indicators that you use within Tekton are largely down to you. You have two types of indicator. You have the indicators that sit over price. So there are indicators that sit over price, so that like the moving averages and Bollinger Bands, etc. And you have then the indicators that sit underneath price. There's the oscillators, so you have the MACD, the stochastic, the commodity channel index, which is what we mentioned earlier, RSI. So the best indicators to use are the ones that you need, depending on what type of strategy you want. If you want a strategy that uses oversold and overbought levels, then that's really down to the oscillators at the bottom of your screen. If you want something that's going to use momentum, i.e. you're going to see momentum shifts, then the moving averages are good to use, which actually overlay price. So hopefully that answers that question from you, Mohammed. But remember, on our forum, on the Tekton forum community, there is a section called the indicator series. It's under courses. It's called the indicator series. And there is the place where you can learn about the indicators that we have within Tekton. And over the coming weeks or so, we're going to add more videos to that as we add new indicators. So there's a section within the forum, which is where you can actually go and see what these indicators do and how they apply to the charts and what they actually give you reading wise and how you can then build algos with them. So that's that one. We've got another one here. This one's from Victor in Budapest. Hi, I'm new to trading and watched your course Trading for Beginners and think it was very good and very clear to learn from. How would you advise someone new to use Tekton for the first time? Well, that's a very, very good question. We're finding we're getting quite a few people who are experienced traders come to us, and what they do is they come on board. They've been manually trading for many years, and they find that auto trading is something that really, really excites them and gives them the ability to then, if you like, automate that process and without the need to code. So somebody would come to us that's completely a beginner and has never traded before. What I would suggest they do, rather than just go full steam into learning how to use Tekton, is learn a little bit of education. Get yourself a good grounded education. The Trading for Beginners workshop on our forum is a good one to use. But then once you've done that, and part of that workshop is how to use Tekton, is to look at some of the existing strategies that are posted up on the strategy section on the forum. And what you can do with those is you can then edit those and amend those and work with those as a base. I did say on the workshop, and there was a question I saw earlier about strategies, try not to avoid just copying others. because you may find you'll be able to get a much better result than the person that's created that strategy. So any algorithms you see that on the strategy section, strategy examples, you can use those and import the code and then duplicate it. And then what you can do then is you can then just use the duplicated version to give you the ability to build on it, change the instrument, change the setting, change the risk management. You can do a whole host of things within Tekton, and you may find you will get a better result. Now, on the workshop, you may recall I mentioned about a strategy that we put up, and on the workshop, I explained we put a strategy up on dollar Canadian dollar. And somebody, one of our clients in Africa, I think it was, contacted us on the forum and said, have you tried this on euro yen? Because I believe it gets better results. And it did. So that's somebody who's got a base strategy from Tekton, from the forum, and then amended it. So the amend and edit feature is so useful. So please try and use that wherever you possibly can. So it's a great question, Victor. What I would suggest you do is look at some of the existing strategies, get them into your Tekton account, get them tested, amend them, change the risk management, change the time frame, change the instrument, change the settings on the algorithm itself. You can't break Tekton. Tekton is simple and easy to use, and just crack on and then get yourself started from there. But remember, you've also got our support behind you. We've got somebody that is patrolling the forum all the time now, who's a member of staff, and their name's Harry Joseph, and he's going to be contacting anybody that needs any help, and I can help you with coaching sessions and training, etc., moving forward. So it's a great question, Victor. Welcome to the forum. I'm not sure if you're on this evening. That might be why you've sent the email in. I've got another one here from Paula. Paula sent an email in, and this will be the last one I'll do from the emails. And I see we've got one come through on the chat window. This is from Paula from Wiltshire in England. Hello, I attended a Forex course in London many years ago where you were one of the trainers. Okay, I learned a lot from you and have now registered for your auto trading platform, Tekton. Can you tell me the difference between a simple and exponential moving average that you mentioned in the workshop? Okay, so nice to hear from somebody that I've taught many years ago. Moving averages are very simply lines that are plotted on charts to gauge direction. So if the moving averages are facing up, prices then tend to be going up. But you can have different types of moving average. You can have simple moving average, and they are calculated over X number of bars or candles. So if you have a 20 period moving average, it's measuring the average of the last 20 bars. A simple moving average measures that line over all of those 20. An exponential moving average will measure that moving average over the recent bars of that 20. So it's giving you the most recent data. It's weighted. It's a weighted moving average, weighted over the most recent data. So it can give you more exact readings. And remember, when we use moving averages, we use them to cross. So when a moving average crosses, say, for example, we've got a 20 period and a 50, and the 20 crosses up above the 50, that usually means prices are about to go up. And that's a good thing to know, because you can build algorithms and strategies based on that. And we have a couple on our strategy examples using moving averages themselves. So let's have a quick look at the chat window here. Jesse, I created some algos that has higher winning trades, but with the result in negative pips. What could be responsible for more negative pips? Okay, great question. If you're creating an algorithm, and this is based on reward to risk, okay? This is based on reward to risk. So with reward to risk, you are risking a certain number of pips. Let's say you're risking 20 pips and your reward is 40 pips. So what that means in essence is that you are risking 20 pips on a trade to make 40. So you will either lose 20 or win 40, which is what we call a 2-to-1 reward to risk. So it's a 2-to-1 reward to risk. In a moment, I'll go into Tekton and I'll show you what I mean by that. That can give you a higher number of pips as a profit, but a higher number of losing trades, because each trade is only 20 pips as a loser, but the winning trades are 40. Okay, so you would win 40, but you'd lose 20. Okay, but you've had a situation where you've got a higher number of winning trades, but the result is negative in pips. Now, that can be two things. One reason is the opposite way around. You've got the reward lower than the risk. So you might have more winning trades, but each winning trade is more in volume than the winning trades. So the losing trades might be 40 and the winning trades might be 20. In which case, if you've got higher number of winning trades, but they're lower in volume in pips, you're going to get a negative profit and loss. I hope that explains that question, Jesse. Always remember, if you've got a strategy that's giving you that, you can copy or export the code for your strategy, and then you can send that on to me on a private message on the forum, no problem at all. I can then copy that into Tekton and have a look and see if that helps and see what actually is going on within the strategy. Happy to do that with anybody. So if you create a strategy and you want to send it to me, you can just export the code, send it to me, and I'll happily look at it for you. And remember, that works both ways. The import export function is perfect for sharing strategies, but it's also a good way of learning. You can send it to me and I can have a look at it for you. Another question. I've copied some of your strategies in the forum to try out, but as soon as I go into trade, I'm losing. How do I check what strategy will work? Okay. And you've added on here as well. I'm not sure how much data I should backtest. Well, that's a great question, because I did cover that in the forum, in the workshop that we put up on the forum on Saturday. And backtesting is the best way to backtest, guys. And this is please listen to me very carefully here. The backtest process that I follow works like this. I first of all set up a one-to-one reward to risk. So whether that's 20-20, 15-15, 30-30, 45-45, one-to-one reward to risk. I then backtest over the whole data. So I backtest over the whole data from beginning of 2017 to today. And I look to see how close to a 50-50 win-loss ratio I get. Remember, at one-to-one, you need greater than 50% success rate. If it's quite close, I know that I can then adjust the reward to risk to suit. Okay, so what I can do is I can increase the reward and keep the risk the same, or lower the risk and increase the reward, because I know that it's almost 50-50. I know with a higher reward to risk, I can get an even better result. Okay. The question you've put is, as soon as you go into a trade, you are losing. Remember, every trade that is placed, whether you place a trade manually or whether you place a trade through Tekton, it will immediately be in a losing position because of the spread. Everybody pays spread. I do, you do. Every trade around the world pays a spread, and the spread is taken at the front of the trade, so the beginning of the trade. Okay, so your question was, I've copied some of your strategies from the forum to try out, but as soon as it goes into a trade, it's losing, and it will be. It's a case of leaving it to run. Okay, providing you've got the reward to risk set effectively. And again, the person that sent me that question, please send me an export code. I'll have a look at it for you. I had an export code sent to me at the weekend from a strategy that someone created, and there was an error with it. I could see there was an error really straight away with it. So I sent it back with a new code, and they've imported that. So remember, the export import code really is a helpful tool, because what it does, it allows me to look at what you've done, and I can then help you by re-editing it if need be. So you've copied some strategies, you go into Trude, I'm losing, that's fine. How do I check what strategy will work? Well, this question is really a really open-ended question. Which strategy will work? All strategies work to a certain extent. All strategies do. Some strategies will win so much compared to what it loses. Some strategies will lose more than they win. It's down to you, obviously, to test and edit and amend to see what strategies work for you, for example. We've used in the past EMA crosses. They work very well. They trade a bit few and far in between, but they work very, very well. There are lots of examples on our forum. Some of them, on average, they're on average, they're winning more than they're losing purely and simply because the reward to risk is set like that. But what happens, guys, is that nothing goes up in a straight line. It goes up, pulls back, goes up, pulls back, goes up and pulls back. And what that does is that shows you that there is a strategy as a whole will not just be consistently making money. It will be making money, pulling back, pulling up, pulling down, making money, pulling back, etc., etc. And what that does, that tells you, like any strategy that you try as a trader, will not make money all of the time. And yes, you may join and start that strategy when it's beginning that and think this doesn't work. But that's the beautiful thing about testing. Testing will allow you to test and look at periods. And if you go back and watch the workshop again that I did, you'll see that I tested a strategy and it made 6,000 or 7,000 pips over the period of the test. But if we test little periods, it moved down 200 or 300 in those small areas. So remember, testing is good for the whole period. And I know this is linked to your next question. Why 2017 as a date? Why not say January this year to current? Well, do you know what, my friend? You can do that. You can test, when you're testing a strategy, you can test the whole time period, or you can test just a week within that time period, or a month, or a year, or a 3-month period. You can test whatever time period you want to. It is completely flexible. You are able to test the whole period or just part of it. And in a moment, I'll share my screen and we'll go in and I'll show you how that works. But you can see that from the workshop. So if there are things that I don't cover this evening, there is a whole wealth and a whole library of education on the forum and on our website about how to think of a strategy, how to build a strategy, how to test a strategy, and how to set it to run live. Those 4 little parts of the process, there are videos and workshops on how to do each one of those, and they are very simple. They're no longer than just a few minutes each. So I hope that answers your question about why 2017 as a date. Why not say January this year to current? It is flexible. We have got the data that goes back all that time. You can choose what areas you backtest. I hope that answers your questions. If you can just give me a little thumbs up if it does, I hope it does. And then what we'll do is I'll just get back to some of the email questions that we got here. So we've covered those 2. Good, thank you. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much. Nice of you. Raj from Doncaster in Yorkshire. Hi, Mark. Can you tell me if it's possible to have you as my mentor to help me get started with Tekton? Well, that's what I do. I mean, I am a mentor, I'm a trainer, I'm a coach, and I can coach anybody how to trade. It's my voice and it's my education on the Trading for Beginners workshop. So I'm able to coach anybody. Remember, those of you that do the Trading for Beginners workshop will get 30 minutes with me anyway. So yes, you can have that. That's fine. You can have access to me for a 30-minute session. And that's no problem at all. We get that as part of your workshop. So hopefully that, Raj, answers your question. So those covered. I've got one final one here from Gonzalo from Argentina. We actually got users in Argentina. That's fantastic. I know we've got users in Australia and we've got users in the Middle East and Africa. This one's Argentina. Hi, can you send me strategies that I can import into Tekton? Well, I did reply to this guy and I said to him that the best way to import strategies is to use the import function from a code. Remember, every time a strategy is created in Tekton, it's creating also a unique code that sits with it. And that code is exportable and importable. Okay, so that can be used to actually bring in to someone else's Tekton, and they can then use that and then amend it. What I would suggest is then duplicate it. Now, we haven't created Tekton to provide a strategy service. This is the thing I need to make very clear. Tekton isn't a strategy providing service. Tekton is a platform that will allow you to create your own strategy. You can use ours and the existing ones as a base, but I wouldn't advise just copying anything that you see, because what tends to happen as well, and this happened to one of our users, they copied one of our strategies, they put it into Tekton, they set it to run live, and it didn't trigger. No trades triggered. And the reason no trades triggered was because the conditions hadn't been met yet. Remember, the conditions you write in your algos have to be met in the market for that to trade. So if it's a moving average cross, we have to wait for those moving averages to cross. The trader or the trader that actually did that thought the trading system hadn't been set to run live, so set it to run live again and waited another few hours and nothing traded. And rather than contact me for some help, they set it to run live 3 times. So they had 3 versions of the same strategy running. And the problem was, and you know what I'm going to say now, they all triggered. So he then had 3 trades running, all on exactly the same currency pair, which is obviously risk management, excessive risk management. So please, if you are unsure about a strategy, whether it's running or not, simply look at Tekton and it will tell you. If it says running, it means it's going to be running, and as soon as the conditions are met, it will trigger. There's only one reason why a trade may not execute if you have set it to run live and it says running when the conditions are met, and that is if your risk management isn't set. So if your risk management isn't set and it's set too high, what will happen is Tekton will try to place the trade, but the broker will say, no, not enough money in the account, trade will be rejected. And that can sometimes happen. And this is, again, the danger of using strategies created elsewhere. If you copy them in, their risk management settings are copied in as well. And if you haven't changed that and set it to run live, it may trigger at a higher CFD size than you want it to be. Okay, so I just thought I'd share that with you. That's all of the email questions this evening. There's 1 or 2 other things that we've picked up on the forum that people have asked us as well. But what I did say to you is I'll show you those areas in the risk management setting on Tekton so you can have a look at them for yourself. So let me just share my screen. Just want to share my screen here. Okay, so this is the Tekton algo trading screen, and where you need to be looking at when you import a strategy. Okay, let's say we look at this one here. Okay, so this is the commodity channel index. This one has the correct CFD size here of 0.02. Okay, so it has a 0.02 CFD. It's correct because it seems like it's a correct setting. Obviously, you'd need to go through your risk management on the trading tools on our website, which is where you can work out your CFDs. But don't just leave this as 1, because if you leave this as 1, for example, this one here is set at 1.09. So again, it's quite an exact number. So presumably this one's been risk managed correctly. But if you just import a code or copy a code and sit there and let it run at 1 CFD, but you've only got a small trading account size, it won't execute. And therefore you'll have an issue with it executing, because it won't actually execute because of insufficient funds to trade with. So other things to look at here. This one here, I was going to cover the close buy, close sell, open buy. As you can see here, we've got open sell, open buy, close sell, close buy. So you can use algorithms to not just open your trades, but also to close your trades as well. If you do that, a good idea and some good advice here is to actually increase the take profit level to a high level, because you want the oscillators to close the trade and not your pip size. If you get a trade of 1,000 pip profit, happy days. It really is happy days. But if you find that you want to use the close buy, close sell function, and you'd use that if you want to use it as a trading stop, then you can use that feature there. Okay, so let's go back and see if there's anything else that anybody wants to ask. So anybody else, does anybody else have any questions? Okay, I'll be here, for another few minutes. So if you have any questions you want to ask, please feel free. I'm going to be trying to do these sessions once a fortnight. We're going to do some recorded sessions as well, because I believe the recorded sessions work very, very well for people, and you can then watch them at your leisure. Then we can do the Q&A sessions after as well. But does anybody else have any questions? And we've got some new people, someone new come on board as well there. So does anybody else have any questions that they want to ask? We'll wait a few more moments. So moving forward, okay, well, we'll just give you a bit more time to do it. Moving forward, one of the things that we will be introducing into Tekton and onto the forum specifically is the Tekton forum. It's a forum where we're encouraging people to talk to each other, and this is all about not just reading what we are posting, but sharing ideas with each other on the forum. Because if you can share ideas with each other and talk to each other about how you're doing and how things are working, you find that you'll get a much clearer, positive outlook on trading. So on the forum, let me see if I can share the forum with you now. Where are we? Okay, so here, as you can see, we've got the topics section. Okay, if you scroll through down to the bottom of the topics section and go to here, we have the Tekton Trading Forum. Okay, and the Tekton Trading Forum has quite a few users on it, as you can see, and we have lots of ideas here. You can see the recording of the workshop that we did the other day. There's the current Q&A that we're actually running on here. I know it's a bit short notice because of the technical difficulties, but as you can see, you've got people typing messages on here, starting posts, starting threads, and this is all for you. This is all for you. Okay, so this is all about sharing ideas and asking questions and commenting. Okay, we don't want people to be nasty to each other or abusive. It's all about helping people, giving people a open forum, an open message board, if you like, where you can put on there questions and answers, strategies. And here we got one here, for example, can you create a strategy on US dollar today? This was posted by Maria Gonzalez, and we actually posted a strategy on US dollar. But remember, the strategies that we post are there for you to use as a base. Okay, I did mention earlier about the indicator workshop. So we have the indicator series here, and this is on topics and courses. And you have all of these workshops for free on the indicator series. Okay, so you have the indicator series here of all the main indicators that we use on Tekton. Here we have intro to algo trading and Tekton. So if you are new and somebody is new to Tekton and just want to refresh how Tekton works, that is where you can click to learn about algo trading and Tekton. And also we have here our trading for beginners workshops as well. The operator series is a very good and informative workshop. It's for those people that want to understand a little bit more about how the operators work. The operators are crosses below, crosses above, less than, more than. So we have had somebody who is an experienced trader contact me at the end of last week and asked me if I could create an algo based on a scenario in the marketplace. and I used the operator functions to be able to do that for them. And that was great because they came back to me and said, oh, it works. I wasn't quite sure how to write the algorithm, but we were able to help them. So I was able to help them to do that personally when we actually I got the details of what they wanted. So let's go back to the workshop. Anybody else have any questions, guys? Does anybody else have any more questions? Okay, because the questions we've had this evening are good. We had one more email question came in, which came in this morning, and it was from a guy in Ireland, in Dublin, and John was his name. And John asked me, could I explain what the difference between Tekton is and other automatic trading systems out there in the marketplace? So let me explain to you how I responded to it. Now, it might be a question that you guys are asking. So let me explain to you how I answered it. First of all, there are quite a lot of automated trading systems out there. The first type that you see is a type where you put your money into a trading account. You then attach your trading account to an automatic trading system that has a strategy built into it, but you have no control over the strategy. You have no control over the risk management. It just trades when it wants to on your money. And the claims are that it has great results. Now, the downside to that, and I tried this, is you have no control over the strategy being used. You have no guarantee that what they are promising you regarding results is true. And when you want to ask questions about risk management, quite often they won't reveal that to you. So the risk management can sometimes be a little bit, I would say, out of control. And one particular system had 25 open trading positions on one strategy at one point that I'd set up a demo account on. And that isn't good. So that's one type of auto trading system. The other types of auto trading systems are what we call the coded expert advisors. And what these are algorithms, if you like, that have been coded using coded language that has to be done by someone who knows how to code, somebody that either can buy them off the shelf. So you can buy EAs off the shelf. They cost money, but there's no guarantee they're going to work. And then you plug them in to a broker platform. Now, they cost money and time to do, and there's no guarantee that they work. So the difference between those type of algo trading systems, or one where you've got to sit and code using a workshop or a workspace where you use coded language, is Tekton is plug and play. It's a ready to go auto trading system where you just create the algorithms, or you bring in algorithms that are already there and edit them and amend them. And in the blink of an eye, in the time it takes you to probably brush your teeth, you can actually create an algorithm and have it back tested. Certainly by the time you've had a morning cuppa or a cup of coffee or a sandwich for lunch. It's that user friendly, it's that simple. And that is the difference between Tekton and other systems. We are paid by brokers for the system to be used. So that is why we don't charge at the moment for people to use Tekton. So there's no costs involved and there's no time delay. And you, the user, have full total control over the strategies that you are using, which is great. It's what people have asked for years. Many people over the last 10, 15 years have asked for algo trading for the retail trader, for the masses, not just banks, for the masses. And honest trading strategies, honest advice, and a simple to use trading platform. And guys, ladies and gentlemen, you do have that now with Tekton, which is really pleasing for us. And we're proud of what we've created over the last few years. So it seems like there are no more questions. Remember the forum, the community. We have the Tekton community, which I've showed you briefly just now. If you haven't yet joined, please join. There's a lot of useful information there. I get pop-up messages come up on my phone and on my laptop. So if I'm online, I will communicate with you. wherever possible. We have a team of staff out there as well that are helping people to get started. But just remember the golden rule. If you are somebody who's new to trading, make sure you get yourself educated first. Included in that is the how to use Tekton, and we've reduced the cost of that workshop to virtually nothing. It's been brought right down purely and simply because we want to get people started and get people trading. Secondly, once you've done that, make sure you get onto the forum to get some ideas together. Make sure you get your broker account open. We've got a number of different brokers you can use and work with now all over the world. And get yourself started, get yourself involved, get yourself creating. Remember, Tekton is a Greek word, and it's Greek for artisan and craftsman. So you become a craftsman in regards to trading. It gives you the tools and the ability to create your own art, which is your own algorithms that you can use in the marketplace. Backtest them, edit them, amend them, get yourself get yourself into the swing of things. I spend a whole day a month just backtesting, just creating. You don't have to do the same. You can do less, you can do more. It's up to you. But just to get the best from this, get your own stuff created. And if you've got something that you think is worth me looking at to see if we can improve it even more, fantastic. Get in touch. More than happy to get on board and listen to you. So all that remains for me to say is, once again, I apologize for the first webinar this evening, the issues we had with the sound and the audio. This one seems to have been fine after a little bit of a hiccup at the beginning. Yeah, so great, crack on, and we'll put a copy of this recording up in the next day or so. And thanks for attending this evening. It's been a pleasure. From wherever you are in the world, I wish you a good day, good evening, and a great rest of the week and great rest of October. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.